focus on my area, everything goes better. Everything goes better. Everything goes better. Everything goes.
Hey there. I had this great idea. I was going to go to Starbucks and catch a sunset and talk to you guys about goal setting and passion. Of course, I had to bring my motorcycle because I didn't introduce that to you last time. But now I'm going to go sit down with my coffee. I like that motorcycle. And try to explain to you guys, why am I talking to multiple people? I'm just talking to you. It's not like I have 100 people I want to tell things. I just want to tell you. So let's see if I can settle this in. Take off my purse. And we'll just have a talk real quick. That's a cool motorcycle too. Okay. The important thing I wanted to talk to you about is the difference between an ego goal based on your ego and a soul goal based on your actual soul. And the way you can tell the difference is if you want a motorcycle because you think other people are going to look up to you and you think you're going to be seen as respectful or tough, or somehow people are going to maybe fear you because you had a safety question, that's an ego goal. And if you want a motorcycle because it's something that you always liked but you were afraid of, and you want to go take classes and you want to learn how to be safe on it, and then maybe you want to try going on a racetrack or something like that, those are soul goals. Those are you defeating your fears and increasing your self-confidence and your self-trust. And that's when you really have things going well. Here's the cool thing about that kind of stuff. You can tell it's your passion when it's your soul goal. If it's a goal that's about ego, then you have to have somebody who's going to have a reaction about it. That makes sense? But if nobody has to have the reaction except for you, then that's an internal growth, self-improvement, self-enlightenment, further along the path to your true self kind of goal. And it's dramatically different. And I highly recommend focusing on all the goals that make you like you more. And also, if you have any goals that seem like somebody could write a commercial about it, if you buy this house, all your neighbors will be jealous. If you have these clothes, this scent, that jewelry, all your high school bullies will think twice about being mean to you. That's not real, buddy. That's marketing, okay? And that's somebody else's goal that you're adopting and you're spending your effort and your attention on, and it's not going to really give you anything. Boy, it's warm out here. I'm in Florida. It's about 90 degrees right now, and I was just riding a motorcycle. I hope the traffic is not a big problem for the sound. I want to make sure you guys can hear this. So here's another huge implication. Here's a huge implication of a difference between a goal that's focused on ego or a goal that is focused on growth, self-development. And that is, what is your approach? So if your approach is to be able to ride a motorcycle, right? You want to take like a really good high-performance motorcycle, you want to ride it really well. That's your goal. You can be the kind of person, you can just decide, I'm the kind of person who rides high-performance motorcycles. And then you can start doing things like research, some exercise. Make sure you have good wrist control. Sometimes your whole body weight is going to be on your wrist, so push-ups, things like that. And then study some things about how people avoid problems in traffic. And then while you're doing all that, you can save up some money or fix your credit or whatever, and then wind up eventually getting this motorcycle. It's mosquito time. I don't know if you can see the mosquitoes. No, they flew away. But that's a goal that's going to make you like you more. And that is a be, do, have. It's in that order. Be the person. Do the things the person who's like that would do. And then eventually you'll have the skill set, everything else that it takes to have that goal. Now, how can you tell the difference between that and a ego goal? I'm just going to set you on the window for a minute. For an ego goal, gosh, it's hard to say. Everything will be backward. It's going to be have, buy a motorcycle. Don't care about gear, don't care about anything else. Just buy a motorcycle, go to where people are that you want to impress with it, and park and show it to them. It's not a great goal. It's pretty sad. So that's the have, do, be. Problem is, with the have, do, be is you get it, you go to where it is, you try to satisfy your ego. People react in any way they want to. Some people might try to steal it. Some people say it's great, give you a little bit of a thumbs up or something. And that's the end of your effort. So you never get to the doing part. But if you have the equipment and you start doing the things that are required for you to gain the skills and then eventually be a person who rides safe, has skill, could teach others, that's a good goal. But if you start with have, it's probably an ego-based goal, and it's not something that's really going to satisfy the true reason for your passion. So I'm going to share a little bit right now. Why do I have a motorcycle? Actually, I have 3. I had a life-changing moment when I was about 45, and that, of course, cascaded into a divorce and living on my own for the first time and things like that. But what it also did was it enabled something I had never had in my life, which was the freedom to choose entirely by myself anything and everything I do. What I eat, when I sleep, where I go, if I go home at night or not, everything. And of course I always go home at night because I love going home. But the big thing is, from I would say probably the age of 10, I wanted to ride a motorcycle. And I think it was about when I was 10 that someone had an off-road motorcycle. It was called an Enduro. So it's kind of got knobby tires, but it's got a pretty heavy motor. And I tried to ride it around this little dirt area near a lake. And I rode it for a little bit, and then it fell down in the dirt, and I picked it up, and then I rode it back to the person. I never got out of first gear, but I was hooked. And I hadn't ridden another motorcycle since then until, I want to say I was in my 30s. And I went to a friend's house, and he had a Harley Davidson Fat Boy, which is a very, very heavy motorcycle. And he was pretty impressed, and he's the kind of person that wanted to show off his stuff to get recognition from people. So he wheeled his motorcycle out of the garage. He was having a party. There was all of his coworkers and stuff and having this party, and I was there. And he let me sit on the motorcycle, and I was like, wow, this is pretty neat. He says, you want to hear it? And he starts it. And so it was started, and then he left because he was dealing with some other people at his party. So I'm sitting in the driveway on this running motorcycle. So I backpedaled out of his driveway, put in first gear, which is the only thing I knew, and then I rode down the street. And I didn't know that was like a $40,000 motorcycle. So I went down the street, went around the corner in his neighborhood, found a place to do a turnaround. And I did a turnaround like I was in a car. So, nice wide turnaround. And then I came all the way back to his house. And when I pulled up, him and the people he was talking to were all in shock because he knows I've never ridden a motorcycle as far as he's known me. And I told him it's just kind of everything made sense. So that was in my 30s. And then when I was almost 50 and I had finished the divorce and I had moved out and it's just me, I decided to go get my own motorcycle. So I got what was called a Harley Road King. It's almost the same. It's a little bit less heavy than the one that I was just talking about. And the interesting thing about me is when I went to take the motorcycle safety course, they gave me an option to take an automatic or a manual. So I said, automatic. Like, why would I make it hard to do this course test? So when I get there, they put me on this sort of moped thing, and I'm doing the test, and then just for happenstance, they asked, what kind of, do you guys have a motorcycle? Or are you going to get one? And what do you have if you have one? And I told them I've got a Harley Davidson Road King. So I'm the one on the moped taking the test, and I've got the heaviest, biggest motorcycle in all the people that are there. And it was just kind of a funny contrast. The instructor asked me why would I choose this moped, and I've got a manual, which means there's a clutch and gears and everything, that I'm actually going to ride. And my answer to him was this: when you're involved in something, make it as simple as possible. So there's no reason to add complexities. If I had to deal with the complexity of becoming used to a clutch on a motorcycle I've never ridden, working the gears on a motorcycle I've never ridden, and pay attention to all the instructions, all the hand signals, all the paperwork that you have to remember, there's a written test, there's a performance test, I just choose to approach things with keep it simple, and then save your butt. Right? And that works out pretty well for me a lot of times. So anyway, that's my whole why I'm on motorcycles story. And since then, I've sold that motorcycle and I've bought 3 different other motorcycles. And I can talk more about that if you, the one that's watching, actually makes a comment and says, hey, tell me more about your other motorcycles. Because all you know about right now is this one that's called the ZX-10. And I've got 2 more that are kind of interesting. And I'll go into that when I'm asked. So back to the reason for this entire thing. Passion. So my passion for riding my motorcycles now, not the passion for why I wanted to try it, but the passion for riding now, is I've discovered riding along on the highway, completely independent of anyone else around you. There's no interruptions. You're right there in the wind. You can feel everything. There's a layer of excitement. There's also a layer of concern. And it's like being free. And in my opinion, it's close to actually flying without an airplane that I can get. And no, I don't want to fly in an airplane because I've done that. And it's more like being trapped in a little fishbowl with wings. So I might try paragliding. That's what it's called. I might try something like that. Or there's the motorized parachute thing, but then you got this giant fan on your back, so all you really do is hear this fan. I don't know. We'll see what life brings me. But I've got a long way to go. Oh, my lifespan. I will live to the year 2120. Why do I know that? Because that's what I've decided to do. Why do I think it's possible? Because the fact that I set that as a goal, and that is a growth goal, that's a personal goal, I make decisions like working out a lot, making sure I eat healthy, planning what I'm going to do, making sure that where I go is not going to put me in crazy risk. And so when I reach 150 years old in the year 2120, and I see our second planetary colony reach some sort of milestone, that's kind of my expectation. I'll see you then. So, just to wrap this up real quick, thinking about passion. If you are looking into something, you need to just give yourself some silence and really understand what are the feelings you're going to feel about the thing you're considering listing as a goal for yourself. How will you feel once you've achieved that goal? And is that feeling based on your self-image? Or is it based on other people's reactions to what you did? And if it's based on other people's reactions to what you did, that is an ego-based goal. And there's nothing wrong with having an ego. But there is something wrong with ignoring your real passion to pursue ego-based goals, which are never fulfilling. They don't satisfy you. Just like in the last video when I was talking about the faster car and the faster car and the faster car, if your goal is dependent on, and in that case, they cut their goal apart and they got it down to the least important piece of it. But if your goal is dependent on external factors, and in that case it was to have the fastest car, you're never going to reach that. There's always going to be something faster. If you want to be the tallest person, you don't really have a choice in that. Like, you can wear taller shoes and things, but you're never going to be the tallest person. There's always someone else. And it's very frustrating to try to explain this. But that's my purpose here. My passion is to share the things that I've learned in my years in the simplest way possible with you, so that you can take advantage of these things and have a better life. I'll never know that you had a better life from it unless you send comments and things. I would love to find out. But just the fact that I'm doing this is satisfying my goal. And I see myself in a better light for the fact that I'm taking this effort, I'm putting these bits of information out, and I'm doing the best I can to simplify it, because I have quite a bit to come. Specifically, I'm focused on some information I learned in college back in the 90s from a professor who I respected greatly, and he's passed away, so he can't teach it anymore. So I'm taking it upon myself to share it with you guys. And hopefully he appreciates that. I think there's mosquitoes around. Okay, I'm gonna shut this down, and I will talk to you guys next time. Love you.
To be put to the test, it's not about perfection, it's all about your climb, leaving you all so far behind. The rhythm of progress, a beautiful sound, lifting your feet right off the ground. Remember the reason you started this quest, to be better than yesterday, to be put to the test. It's not about perfection, it's all about the climb, leaving you all so far behind. The rhythm of progress, a beautiful sound, lifting your feet right off the ground. Remember the reason you started this quest.